Good afternoon, everybody. And we'll just open it up to questions right away.
You met virtually 11 months ago with Mayor Frey in Minneapolis
Yes.
and talked about tariffs. That was the big concern at the time. Since then, everything in the world's gotten scarier. What is your concern for your sister city, this mayor, how things have gone down in Minneapolis? When you see everything that's happening and the lengths to which your counterpart there is trying to get a handle on what is chaos, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm concerned for what I'm seeing in Minneapolis. I did send a text message to Mayor Frey just the other day. He didn't respond. That's completely understandable with everything going on. Just expressing my concern for what I'm seeing. My final comment is I hope to see a return to peace in your streets as your sister city. And that is absolutely my concern. I frankly can't imagine what he's going through as mayor.
I'm asking about this today too because the Prime Minister issued a very interesting speech today in which he basically starkly stated the obvious, that the old order has come to an end and that great powers with power are going to exert influence and the rule of law is not what it used to be. What is your concern long-term with our relationship to that place that's only 90 minutes down the road?
I think, first of all, I think I speak for a lot of us. I don't think we ever imagined as Canadians we'd be in a place like we're in today, in a world like we're in today, when what we're seeing out of the United States is, talks about, even things like the unthinkable. It is concerning. I think this is a time when we as Canadians, and certainly as politicians at all levels of government, on behalf of the people we represent, need to band together to be supporting one another, to be, first of all, protecting the security of our cities and our nation, protecting our businesses as well, who are impacted by tariffs. And there's no roadmap to deal with chaos. And what we're seeing out of the United States consistently from the leader is very chaotic. So I think that's why we as municipal leaders need to be standing in solidarity with our premiers and with our Prime Minister as well, to try to sometimes respond and other times certainly to take a defensive and protective position for our interests.
There's no roadmap for chaos, but we saw very very unpredictable events during the pandemic here that you had to respond to. What is the city doing to game out a bunch of what used to be far-reaching scenarios, and everything from worsening trade chaos to people wanting to move here in larger numbers than the trickle of Americans that we've seen, or perhaps more people who are newcomers to the U.S. wanting to come here now as a result? What is the city gaming out here?
Well, I just last week asked a couple of my staff members to come up with a series of questions, even if they seem to be outlandish, that we could ask the appropriate agencies and entities. Everything from our emergency services personnel to make sure that our emergency management systems are all in place for a series of possibilities. It's really difficult as a mayor, I think any mayor, to even imagine what all the questions that we should be asking and all the scenarios that we could be and should be prepared for. I'm not living in alarm. I just want to make sure that as mayor that we are as a city well prepared for what may come, including what if we see an influx of people that want to move from the United States into Winnipeg? What if we if more of our men and women that are here in the Canadian Forces get called upon and deployed elsewhere? What impact does that have on the families in our community? And so there is a set of questions that we will ask. I don't have them pinned down at this point, but it is on my mind. It's in initial discussion behind scenes as we watch what happens around the world and what our Prime Minister is leading on here.
Mayor, speaking to the mentioned in that press release this morning, now estimated more than 150,000 people within the city. Even aside from that, we're seeing significant growth year over year here. The press release came off fairly celebratory, like this is pretty good news. Why is this something to celebrate?
You know, growth is something I believe to celebrate. It comes with great opportunity, and it comes with some challenges as well. But, you know, growth is indicative, I believe, of people choosing Winnipeg, choosing to live here, choosing to invest here, choosing to raise their families here. And so it creates a sense of momentum in many ways. Now that we've reached the 850,000, you know, population threshold, that's a significant threshold. That's only 150,000 people away from 1 million people in Winnipeg proper. If you look beyond, you know, into the center, the metropolitan area, you know, over 950,000 people. So we're just pushing the 1 million population. That creates, as I said, I think a real sense of momentum and growth and excitement, but it also does come with some of the challenges, the demands on our city services. We talk about the demands on transit, on our recreation services, on policing, paramedics, firefighters, our calls to 911, our emergency services. And so it's something to celebrate. I think it indicates that, you know, it's good news that people are choosing Winnipeg and our city's growing.
One of the challenges I did want to bring up, in terms of housing, I know last year there was an increase in starts, but there was a decrease in completions throughout the city. With the trends we're seeing in population growth, do we have the housing stock over the next few years if the population keeps increasing?
At this rate, you know, even CMHC has says, no, we don't. That's why, you know, the federal government, and we partner with them on some of their federal programs like the Housing Accelerator Fund to get more housing built and built sooner, faster. And today's meeting showed that we're, you know, in many ways exceeding the targets of getting housing built. So approvals are happening more quickly. Faster approvals. You know, we released the press release on Sunday showing that Winnipeg's, you know, housing starts were over 12%, pretty much doubling what the national average was, those housing starts. As far as getting those houses completed, you know, my hope would we see that in 2026, the houses that were started in 25 but didn't get completed in 25 will get completed this year. We need more housing. We have made significant changes as a council to zoning and processes so that we can get more housing built sooner.
This estimate, though, from StatsCan, it's for July 1st, 2025, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Now, StatsCan said in December in their actuals, there was a Q3, July to September drop for Canada as a whole, 75,000, most of that Ontario, but also a 2,000 person drop in Manitoba. Aren't you concerned this is a little bit of hanging a, you know, mission accomplished flag on the aircraft carrier here?
No, I don't believe so, because overall, when you take a look at where we've come from in the last couple of years, we have seen significant population increase. And so if you know, if we're 850,000, if there's been a bit of a dip, I'm confident over the next, you know, few months, years ahead, overall, net, we'll see increases again. Population in our province does, you know, it grows at different rates, and sometimes there's a bit of a regression. But I think that overall, this is a significant milestone that we need to mark, and because it shows too the opportunities, but it also shows, as I said, some of the pressures that we have when it comes to delivering city services to a population of 850,000 people.
Speaking of delivering the city services, housing growth is all, like, starts are all great, but can the waste and water and other city services, can they keep it up? What are some of the outline and blueprint that you have and the council has and the city has to accommodate this 850,000 population, maybe even 1 million?
I'm glad you asked, so I can talk about the North End sewage treatment plant. But in all seriousness, the North End Water Pollution Control Centre is the most important project in the city of Winnipeg. That infrastructure project is critical to unlocking Winnipeg's future. We need the third phase fully funded with provincial and federal partners. We need to get the entire project built, constructed to open up the capacity so that in the future we can add more housing and add more businesses.
Is it coming fast enough though?
Well, we are moving faster than this project has moved in many years. This project has been talked about for over 20 years, 23 years or so. This council has taken, I believe, more action than previous councils. The previous council under Mayor Bowman really started to get the ball rolling. We've pushed hard to expedite it as the priority project, and we will continue to do so. This continues to be my priority, to get this project fully funded and ultimately built so we can open up the capacity, protect our lakes, but open up the housing and building business capacity that our future needs.
Adding new population is great, but also one of the most important thing is retaining the population. Our province and this city is also famously known for Winnipeg, and I dare say one of the main reasons why people are moving away. What are some of the things that you have in mind in terms of retaining the population?
We can't control the weather, obviously, but I think helping, especially maybe new Canadians or even younger people who graduate university or college here or trade, helping them understand that there is a great opportunity within Winnipeg to build a really rewarding career and life within our city. You can experience, many different aspects of a career in the same field or various fields. The opportunities are here. At the same time, we have the advantage of affordability compared to many other cities in Canada. You can, you can rent or own a home here for a lot less than you would have to pay in the other cities, Calgary, Vancouver, Toronto, or anywhere in the GTA. What's excited me over the last couple of years as mayor is talking to individuals who have come back to Winnipeg. They're young people, I call them young people, either they're in their 30s and 40s who've decided to come back to Winnipeg or have stayed in Winnipeg. They're building their careers here, they're raising their families here, and they've talked about the fact that it's more affordable and the quality of life they can enjoy in Winnipeg for a greater, they can get more for less than they get in Vancouver or Toronto or some other place. And so Winnipeg has so much going for it, and we need to continue to talk about that and show people, young people especially, that this is a great place to build a life.
Okay. So I just wanted, this is hopefully a minor issue, I don't know how long it's gonna last, but you noted during the meeting that the 311 system is down. The city tweeted the transit and water and waste call centers are also down. I haven't seen any update on X. Do you know how long this will last or what caused it? Have you gotten any
No, I don't. We were in the meeting and Joe Dunford, our CEO, leaned over to me and just said, we've got an issue with 311 right now. Our staff is working on it to get it back up and running as soon as possible. And that's all the information I have.
Okay. Nothing on cause or any updates?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's hard to, go beyond that. then.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
have any further information. Okay. Okay.
Nope. Councillor Luke said it's depressing that the province didn't mention climate change in its last report in light of, that we need more transit funding. Councillor Brawadi is talking about the $5 million the province decided to retroactively remove from the 2025 budget. It is, of course, 2026. How concerned are you that Winnipeg, your colleagues on EPC are raising irritants on funding for the province when you're still wanting to get that sewage treatment plant done?
Well, no, I think that, I appreciate my colleagues, what they see is they see some of these projects that we had allocated provincial funding to, that funding has now been by the province reallocated to another project. It can be concerning. I look at it kind of from an overall perspective, and I've been the chair of finance for many years. When previous governments, we had these same conversations about the allocation of capital funding by the province and the projects that they prioritize. To me, it's about working together to find the solutions. Our administrations mutually, respectively, the provincial and our city administrations, they're in dialogue all the time to sort these matters out. And I'm looking at the overall funding that the province gives us and finding those ways where we can identify the shared priorities. And for sure, the North End plant is a shared priority, and making sure that we ultimately get those projects funded.
Do you share the concern, or do you feel like?
I don't know if I would say concern, but it is, it's work that we have to do as a council when we do, we publish our budget, which includes a 6-year capital budget. We make sure that provincial and federal partners have that budget and have the budget book so they can see what we have prioritized as a council when it comes to our projects through future years. And so when federal or provincial governments make a change in their funding, which impacts those specific projects, it's work that we have to do as a city to either find another funding source for that, maybe defer the project, but right now, there's a report coming forward by, that our CFO will author. That'll come forward in the coming weeks here, and we'll have a chance to discuss this further in detail.
Are you concerned at all about strings being attached to basket funding, which I know it wasn't this provincial government, but the former government, the whole idea of strategic infrastructure basket was we respect the city's autonomy, let them decide where the money should go.
Yeah, I think this question was asked to me in Scrum, I think it was last week or the week before. I wish I could remember exactly what I said, but I'll repeat in essence what I said, is that I think there's always been a relationship between the provincial government and municipalities. And when the province, any provincial government, doesn't matter what stripe of government, funds the municipalities, the city of Winnipeg, they do, I think, have interest in where their funding goes. So these kind of conversations are consistent. As I said, I chaired the Finance Committee for many years, been mayor now for 3. These kind of developments are not uncommon. Okay, thanks all.